Since the dawn of humanity, faith has been a pillar that sustains those who seek the truth. Throughout all eras, prophets have been sent as guides for mankind, bringing messages of guidance and wisdom. Among these great men, one stands out not only for his unwavering devotion, but also for the intense trial he faced, a test that echoes through time as one of the greatest examples of submission to the will of God, the prophet Ibrahim. Ibrahim lived in an era marked by idolatry and deviation from true worship. In a world where men built idols of stone and wood, where true faith seemed to be nothing more than a whisper lost in the vastness of disbelief, Ibrahim rose as a beacon of light, challenging the beliefs of his own people and confronting the mighty King Nimrod. His journey was filled with trials, persecution, and hardships, yet his faith never wavered. However, of all the tests Ibrahim faced throughout his life, one stands out in its depth and complexity. In his old age, Allah blessed him with a son, Isma'il, a child awaited with immense love and joy, and it was precisely this paternal love that would be put to the test. One day, Ibrahim had a dream that was not a mere product of his mind, but rather a divine revelation. In it, he saw himself sacrificing his own son, offering Ishmael's life in total obedience to the will of Allah. Imagine the weight of this vision. Imagine a loving father looking at his son, the one he had waited for so many years, and hearing the divine command to offer him in sacrifice. Anyone might hesitate, doubt, or resist, but Ibrahim was different. He understood that true faith requires complete submission and trust in the Creator. So instead of retreating, he accepted Allah's command without question, ready to fulfill the divine order, no matter how painful it might be. This is a story of absolute faith, total surrender, and limitless trust in the wisdom of Allah. It is a narrative that invites us to reflect on our own challenges, our inner struggles, and to what extent we are willing to submit to the will of God. Join us on this journey through the centuries to relive the story of Ibrahim and the sacrifice, a tale of devotion, mercy, and eternal blessings. Ibrahim was born into a land dominated by idolatry. His own family, his community, and even his father were idol worshippers, carving statues of stone and wood and attributing divine powers to them. From a young age, Ibrahim questioned these practices. He observed the sun, the moon, and the stars, and reflected on the true nature of the Creator. Could the celestial bodies be gods? Could lifeless and silent statues answer the prayers of men? His heart, guided by reason and divine inspiration, found only one answer: no. Thus Allah chose him as a prophet, granting him wisdom and understanding to challenge false gods and proclaim the truth. With courage and determination, Ibrahim confronted his people, calling them to abandon idolatry and worship Allah alone. However, his message was not well received. The leaders of his community, including his own father, rejected his words and ridiculed his beliefs. Ibrahim's boldness reached its peak when he publicly challenged the idols of his city. On a day of festivity, when everyone had gone out to celebrate, he entered the temple and destroyed all the statues, leaving only the largest one intact. When the people returned and saw what had happened, they were furious. Suspecting that Ibrahim was responsible, they brought him before their leaders and interrogated him. With wisdom, Ibrahim replied, "Ask the biggest idol. Perhaps he will tell you what happened." Faced with this challenge, the people realized the futility of their idols, which could neither speak nor defend themselves. Yet instead of reflecting on their beliefs, they decided to punish Ibrahim. King Nimrod, a powerful and arrogant ruler, ordered that the prophet be thrown into a blazing fire to be burned alive. The fire was lit, its flames rising high into the sky, and Ibrahim was cast into it. But Allah, in His infinite mercy and power, commanded, "O fire, be cool and peaceful for Ibrahim." Miraculously, the flames did not harm him. He emerged unharmed, proving to everyone that true power did not belong to idols, but to the one true God who controls all things. This event not only established Ibrahim as one of the greatest prophets, but also marked the beginning of his journey of faith. Persecuted by his own people, he was forced to leave his homeland and travel in search of a place where he could continue spreading the message of Allah. And it was during this journey that Allah blessed him with a son, Ishmael, a divine gift who would later become part of one of the greatest trials of his life. The dream and the test of faith years passed, and Ibrahim lived with his son Isma'il, watching him grow into a strong and righteous young man. For Ibrahim, obedience to Allah was absolute. Rather than hesitate or question, Ibrahim decided to speak to Ishmael. With a heart filled with faith, but also with the emotions of a father, he approached his son and said, "O my son, I have seen in a dream that I am sacrificing you. So tell me, what do you think? What an incredible moment. Ibrahim, the father, asking his son, offering him the chance to respond, to understand, to prepare his heart for what was to come. And then, in a response that would be remembered for eternity, Ishmael, still a young boy, but filled with wisdom and submission to Allah, replied, "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, among the patient ones." There was no resistance, no fear, no hesitation, only faith. Ishmael, just like his father, understood that the will of Allah was above all else. His response was not just obedience, it was a declaration of trust in the wisdom and mercy of his Creator. With their hearts aligned in faith, father and son prepared for the ultimate sacrifice. Ibrahim, with the pain of a father but the certainty of a believer, took Ishmael and set out for the place where the command of Allah would be fulfilled. The moment of truth was drawing near. The moment of the sacrifice. The journey of Ibrahim and Ismail toward the site of the sacrifice was laden with deep and contradictory emotions. On one hand, there was absolute obedience and trust in Allah. On the other, a father carrying an unconditional love for his son. With every step they took, Ibrahim felt the weight of his mission. It was a divine command that could not be questioned. But how could he, a father, deliver the son he had waited for so many years? The path seemed long, and as the barren desert landscape unfolded before them, Ibrahim's thoughts were consumed with tension and anxiety. Yet he never wavered. The faith he had in Allah was stronger than any pain or doubt. He understood that this sacrifice was not an act of violence, but a manifestation of his total submission to the divine will. What seemed like an unbearable test was, in his eyes, an opportunity to demonstrate the purity of his faith. Along the journey, Shaitan, the enemy of all who seek the truth, did not take long to attempt to divert Ibrahim from his mission. When they were nearing the site, the tempter appeared in various forms, attempting to sow doubt in the hearts of both father and son. He approached Ibrahim, trying to make him question the divine command by saying, "How can you do this, Ibrahim? How can you sacrifice your son, the fruit of your old age, the one you love so dearly? This is impossible. This cannot be Allah's will." Shaitan used every word, every persuasion to instill fear and doubt. But Ibrahim, with extraordinary calmness, was not swayed. He knew that obedience to Allah was the only thing that truly mattered. With a firm heart and serene mind, he repelled the evil and moved forward, with Ismail by his side, confident that Allah's wisdom was beyond his understanding. And then, the final moment arrived. The site of the sacrifice, a barren and desolate land, became the stage for one of the most profound tests of faith. Ibrahim, with a heavy heart, looked at Ismail. The boy, who was around 13 years old at the time, was aware of what was happening. But instead of resistance, Ismail expressed admirable faith, recognizing his father's mission. With the wisdom of a pure heart, Ismail said, "O my father, do as you have been commanded. If Allah wills, you will find me among the patient ones." Ismail's words echoed with profound depth, and in that moment, the bond between father and son became an eternal symbol of trust in Allah and submission to His will. When Ibrahim heard these words, he felt a comfort in his heart, a certainty that he was not alone. Even in his pain, he knew he was doing what was right. He prepared to carry out the sacrifice, both their hearts ready for the action that would follow. However, when Ibrahim placed the knife to Ismail's neck and was about to fulfill the divine command, something astonishing happened. A divine intervention, a miracle of mercy, occurred at the final moment. Allah, seeing Ibrahim's total submission and Ismail's patience, commanded that the sacrifice be stopped. What seemed like the end of a father and son story was, in fact, the beginning of a great blessing. Suddenly, Allah sent a ram as a substitute. In His infinite mercy, Allah commanded that the ram be sacrificed in place of Ismail. The sacrifice that had been requested was no longer necessary, for the test of Ibrahim and Ismail had been successfully completed. Not only did Allah show mercy by saving Ismail, but He also rewarded the faith of both Ibrahim and Ismail. Ibrahim, now relieved in heart, looked at the ram that was sent as a substitute. The pain he had felt in looking at his son was replaced with deep gratitude. He knew that at that moment, Allah had accepted his devotion and His unconditional love for his son, but also their unwavering faith. This episode became forever marked as a lesson of pure and devoted faith, and the memory of Ibrahim and Ismail would continue to inspire generations across the world. Lessons and impact. The story of Ibrahim and Ismail's sacrifice is more than just a historical event. It's a profound lesson in faith, obedience, and the mercy of Allah. The trials they faced and the way they responded offer us invaluable guidance in our own lives. showing us how to navigate our own challenges with patience, trust, and submission to Allah's will. First and foremost, this story teaches us about the importance of total submission to Allah. Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his beloved son demonstrates the highest form of obedience to God. His faith was so complete that he trusted Allah's wisdom even when the commands seemed incomprehensible. This level of trust is something we are called to embody in our daily lives. While we may never face a test as extreme as Ibrahim's, we are constantly faced with decisions that require us to trust in Allah's plan for us, especially during difficult times. Another powerful lesson is the importance of patience. Both Ibrahim and Ismail displayed extraordinary patience in the face of the most painful test. Ibrahim, despite his love for his son, did not hesitate to submit to the divine command, and Ismail, despite knowing what was coming, accepted his fate with dignity and trust. Their patience wasn't passive, it was active faith, an unwavering belief that Allah's will is always the best, even when we don't understand it. This teaches us that patience in times of trial is not simply about waiting, it is about maintaining our trust and positive outlook while facing adversity. Moreover, the story highlights the theme of divine mercy. Allah's intervention to stop Ibrahim from sacrificing Ismail was not just a display of mercy for the two of them, but also a sign of the infinite mercy that Allah extends to all His creation. This act of mercy shows us that no matter how difficult our trials may seem, Allah is always aware of our struggles and is always ready to provide us with relief. His mercy encompasses all, and in times of hardship, we must trust that He will guide us through it. The sacrifice also holds great significance in the broader context of Islamic rituals. It is directly connected to the annual celebration of al-Adha, a time when Muslims around the world commemorate Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice for Allah. During this time, Muslims sacrifice animals as a symbol of Ibrahim's act, and the meat is shared with those in need, emphasizing the themes of charity, compassion, and gratitude. This act of giving is a reminder of the importance of selflessness and helping others, which are core values in Islam. The story of Ibrahim and Ismail also teaches us about the power of family bonds. Despite the immense personal sacrifice involved, Ibrahim's love for his son and Ismail's trust in his father strengthened their relationship and demonstrated the importance of nurturing strong, supportive bonds in our own families. The willingness of both father and son to endure this trial together underscores the importance of family unity in the face of challenges. Lastly, this story serves as a timeless reminder of the reward for faith and obedience. In the end, Ibrahim's act of submission to Allah was rewarded not only by the safety of his son, but also by an eternal legacy of faith that continues to inspire millions of people across the world. This teaches us that when we submit to Allah with sincerity and patience, we are never abandoned. Rather, we are rewarded in ways we may not always anticipate. As we reflect on this story, we are invited to examine our own lives. How can we demonstrate greater faith in the face of our challenges? How can we show more patience in the difficult times we encounter? And most importantly, how can we embody the spirit of trust in Allah's wisdom, knowing that His plan for us is always the best? Conclusion. In conclusion, the story of Ibrahim, Abraham, and Ishmael, is a powerful reminder of the strength of faith, the importance of patience, and the boundless mercy of Allah. It is a story that transcends time and culture, offering timeless lessons for anyone seeking to understand the true nature of submission to God. Ibrahim's unwavering obedience, Ismail's trust, and Allah's divine mercy all come together to create a narrative that speaks to the heart of every believer. Through their actions, we are reminded that true faith requires sacrifice, that Allah's wisdom is infinite, and that no trial is ever faced alone. As we reflect on the lessons from this story, let us ask ourselves, how can we apply these principles in our own lives? Are we willing to trust Allah's plan even when it's difficult? Can we show patience and resilience in our moments of hardship? And are we ready to submit to the divine will, knowing that in doing so, we align ourselves with the ultimate source of wisdom and mercy? May the story of Ibrahim and Ismail inspire us all to walk with greater faith, patience, and trust in Allah. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of the most profound stories in the Quran. If you found this reflection meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories of faith and wisdom. Until next time, may peace and blessings be upon you all.